Hey everyone, I hope you are having a wonderful day so far. I am just dropping this special little clip into all the episodes. So, no matter what episode you're listening to, this is actually pretty current as of July 2024. I wanted to come on here and just say a big thank you to Earworthy because the Life Shift podcast was just named the best overall podcast of the year in the first Earworthy Independent Podcast Awards. And you've probably seen some articles written about the Life Shift podcast before, written by Earworthy. And now he is launching from his online publication, he is launching these yearly winners of independent podcast awards. And these are specifically for indie podcasters. We are those that wear all the hats. We create the show. Some people write the show. We're producers, sound engineers. We troubleshoot all the tech. We do any kind of research if we need to. We host the shows. We distribute the shows. We do all the things that relate to our shows because we love it. And it's so nice to see my name in a list with some other amazing podcasts like Multispective, which won Best Life Lessons Podcast. Salad with a Side of Fries won Best Health Podcast. Bippity Boppity Business won Best Business Advice Podcast. And there are so many more. And so I just want to come on here and say thank you to Earworthy for not only doing these awards every year and just honoring some of us indie podcasters that sometimes feel like we're just shouting into the void, but we're not. We're just doing what brings us joy, and hopefully through that work it brings other people joy. In my case, for the Life Shift, I hope that each episode finds the ears that needed to hear it the most so that they feel a little less alone in their circumstance. But also, Earworthy writes all these amazing publications pretty much weekly, every week, every weekday, I should say, where he writes on Blogger, Medium, Substack, Tumblr, Vocal, Many Stories, and for other places. And he really just highlights the independent podcasters. So thank you, Frank, for everything you do with Earworthy and for recognizing all of us in the first Earworthy Independent Podcast Awards. If you'd like to read more, please head to medium.com/EAR hyphen WORTHY. Thanks again and enjoy this episode. Hello, my friends. This is another preview to a bonus episode that we do over on the Patreon feed. And so, with these bonus episodes, I like to go back to former guests and just catch up with them based on what we talked about on their show and see if things have changed a little bit. Maybe they had some feedback from people that they didn't expect, or maybe they just learned something new about themselves by sharing the story. And so, in this clip, I wanted to share just a little piece of the latest conversation that I had. If you're interested in checking out the full bonus episodes, you can head over to the Patreon page, which is www.thelifeshiftpodcast.com/join. And there is a special tier that gets you ad-free episodes, early release episodes, and the bonus episodes. Come on over, check out the Patreon community, and see how you can support the show if you're interested. But without further ado, here's a preview of the latest bonus episode. How did you feel once we stopped recording? Like we had the conversation. We didn't really know each other. We had interacted a little bit on Twitter, and then we came in and you shared a really deep personal story. How did you feel after we stopped recording?
It was one of the first ones that I felt like I didn't get real graphic. So I had been on others, and it seems like almost some people really like that shock value, and you didn't seem to be that way. You wanted more of like, you could tell the story and you could really get a real good idea of the story without getting really kind of gross and graphic. And so it was one of the first ones that I thought, this is one that I might be able to share with my kids, or other people, friends or whatever, that it just seemed to be a little more smooth and on level, you know what I mean? It didn't go way off. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, just what didn't get so graphic. discussing abuse or anything,
I don't know that that was intentional on either of our sides. I think we were really having the conversation about, I mean, to remind people your story, I mean, we essentially said that you buying a bus ticket basically saved your life and got you
Yeah.
out of suicidal feelings and
Mm-hmm.
abuse and toxic relationships and
Yeah.
struggling hardcore, and really turned your life around. And so in that conversation, I think our goal was really like, look what's possible.
Right.
Look how we can reflect on such terrible, no one should ever go through these times, but also look how I've evolved.
Right.
Look how it's possible. And I think that's probably why we didn't go down those graphic pieces, because we were focused on who you are now and how those moments made you who you
Right.
are now.
Yeah, and another thing that you had mentioned, and you were the first one to mention this, and now whenever I see myself on others, I notice it too. But how you said that you can tell from my expressions and the way I talked about my past compared to my life now, that it's just, you could tell from looking at me the difference in my life and how I talk about it.
The level of your voice too.
Yeah.
The way, like, I
Yeah.
feel like it almost is the dark and the light. I feel like when you tell your story of your upbringing and the situations you were in your early life, and then your marriages and all the pieces that came along with that, it felt very dark because it was, but the way you delivered it was also very,
Yeah.
like, the sound of your everything was dark about it. And as soon as we started talking about current day Pamela, like, and what you do and the joy that you find in the things around you and the things that you're creating, it's a higher there's a higher pitch. There's, like,
Yeah.
there's just more joy behind it. And so, I mean, that's awesome, but it's also awesome that you didn't even realize you were doing that, because I think
Right.
it says a lot too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you mentioned it because now I notice it and it's just like, well, yeah, of course. But it's kind of fun to see.